Now your sports update. Powered by Mercury Insurance.
Hey, this is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Oakland A's rode a 10-run third inning to a 10-0 win over the Orioles last night in Baltimore. The A's pitching staff allowed just one hit, while their offense, including Stephen Piscotty, cranked out 15 hits. They had 10 in that 10-run inning. The A's are supposed to take on Baltimore at 4:05 later this afternoon, weather permitting. We will talk to Stephen Piscotty coming up next. The Twins top the Yankees 3-1 in Minnesota, pulling the A's within one game of the first wild card. And Week 2 of the NFL gets underway tonight. The Ravens and Bengals square off in Cincinnati, with the winner jumping to the top of the AFC North. Coverage right here on Sports 1140 begins at 5 o'clock. It's 8:03, time to play 9 at Sierra Pines Golf Course. Learn more at timbercreekgc.com.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what?
Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning.
You're gonna talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
Jeff Risdon from the Lions Wire joining us at 8:35. We'll take a look at the Lions-Niners game coming up this weekend. Before that, though,
Should be a good one.
Stephen Piscotty next. Here's a word from Kyle Madson.
Hey, it's time to check out the Marysville Stampede coming this September 15th and 16th. Go to MarysvilleStampede.com for tickets.
From the 916, Giants-Cowboys, much more appealing than the Cincy-Baltimore snoozer being played tonight. I don't know about that.
I disagree.
Market-wise, it is. There's no doubt. Dallas and New York, two of the biggest tentpole football programs in the country, as opposed to Baltimore and Cincinnati, which
massive
are not.
fan bases. It will get better ratings for sure. But for me, from a watching perspective, like the AFC North is always just kind of a knockdown, drag-out slugfest.
Yeah.
And I'm into that. I don't want to watch two iffy NFC East teams duke it out on Sunday Night Football.
Will be fun to see Saquon Barkley on Sunday Night Football.
Yes.
Will be fun to see Ezekiel Elliott and Saquon Barkley on Sunday Night Football.
Give me 40 touches of those two guys, and I'm in there. But at some point, it's going to be on Dak and Eli to make plays, and that's not a thing I want to watch. I'm just not into that.
Also, Landon Collins said that the Cowboys have a better chance of winning with the ball in Dak Prescott's hands as opposed to Ezekiel Elliott's hands, and people are talking about that. Do you agree?
No.
No.
No. I think no. That's ridiculous.
Is that in part because Dak doesn't really have a receiving core? Because he doesn't. Des Bryant's not the only one gone. Jason Witten is.
I think Michael Gallup's going to be a really good player.
Okay.
I think that Cole Beasley is a good player out of the slot. But
better than Hot Beasley.
Outside of that, there's not a lot going on there.
No.
Hey, before we get to Stephen Piscotty, I want to give away these Rascal Flatts tickets. I was supposed to give away some yesterday. Forgot. So I have 2 pairs to give away today.
Hey.
You can see Rascal Flatts playing at Toyota Amphitheater on September 20th. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com, or you can get your tickets right now. Be caller number 4 or caller number 5, giving away 2 pairs. So caller 4, caller 5, you win a pair of Rascal Flatts tickets. All KHTK giveaways are powered by RosevilleAutomalt.com.
Stephen Piscotty was nice enough to call in yesterday, a couple hours after the show. It was the only window we could get him, and we were able to speak to him from Baltimore. Always fun with him. And at some point during this interview, and that's what's great about doing interviews in advance, because you already know how it went, we talk about fantasy football, talk about who he wants to beat on the team more than anything, and talk about his players themselves. Oh, by the way, we also talk a lot of A's baseball as well. Here's Stephen Piscotty from yesterday. Joining us right now, so nice of him to come back and visit, one of our favorite Oakland A's interviews we've had throughout the season, and judging by your reaction, you guys agree absolutely the same. From your Athletics, Stephen Piscotty, out there in Baltimore. Stephen, it's Dave. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. We were talking a lot about it this morning. Give us play weatherman for a second. Obviously, there's much bigger things to focus on than a baseball game for the people out there in the greater Maryland area. But we were talking about the baseball possible ramifications. If you had to guess, do you think you're going to get games in, or how's it looking?
Yeah, I mean, the weather has definitely been a question. There was some talk about potentially playing a doubleheader today. and they were going to let us know last night. But they must have looked at the forecast and it's figured we were going to be okay. I'm not sure if there's talk of moving up Thursday's game to maybe a day game. I know we're scheduled for a night game, so that's a possibility. We know, like as you said, there's bigger things greater than baseball, and so we're just kind of ready to play when they tell us. And, sometimes that happens throughout the season.
Yeah, and this one's unique because you guys are in a dogfight not only with the Yankees for wild card position, but also, let's not forget, just 3 back of the Astros. We were actually doing the math, and we're not baseball. We don't know how it works, but the shared off day you and the Orioles have, I believe, is September 27th, and you guys will be on a plane from Seattle to Anaheim. So obviously, and again, we'll keep prefacing it that there's far more important things to worry about, but I think the last thing you guys would probably want to do would be spending your off day crisscrossing the country to do a couple of makeup games for wild card and or AL West positioning.
Right. That would not be ideal, and hopefully the people setting the schedule are forward thinking and can figure something out so we can get it done maybe tomorrow earlier or what have you. But we had no control over that as players, so hopefully they can do the right thing.
Does it help you guys this time of year to be in a position where you're chasing that first wild card, you're still chasing the division? When you go into a series against a team like the Orioles that has 40 wins, does it help you to go in knowing that you're still chasing something to be able to kind of get up for that series against a team that maybe is not in contention?
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the season, the body of work we put together, I think that's all on the line. It doesn't matter who you're playing. A win is a win and a loss is a loss. So, I think the intensity level is still high, and we got to take advantage of playing teams that don't quite have that high of a winning record. I think we were able to gain a game on the Yankees, yesterday, and so every game's huge, and the intensity level, in the dugout doesn't change for us at all.
Stephen Piscotty with us right now on KHTK. Maybe the most impressive thing about you guys, and we've had the conversation about low payroll and no one believed you and blah, 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 but you guys seem to have this unwavering mental fortitude. And I'm looking right now, you've won 7 of 8, you've won 5 in a row, looking for another one today. And in the midst of all this, just the absolute worst news about Sean Manaea comes down the pike, and we know how close you guys are in that locker room. And to learn not only are you losing one of your brothers for the rest of the season, but possibly next year, and somehow, some way, you guys come out and got out a 3-2 victory yesterday. That seems to be a recurring theme for you guys. That no matter what, when you cross that foul line, you're focused on one thing and one thing only. Right,
and that was definitely tough news and was shocking to a lot of us. And we were wishing Sean the best, that he can recover quickly and gets back to full health. But we have a job to do, and we have to keep going. And there's not a whole lot of time to get down on yourselves. And he's a great pitcher, but we have a lot of guys that can step up and fill in and have been doing it all year. So it's something you have to battle. Every team goes through it in one way or the other, and it's kind of been our, I don't know what you'd call it, but it's been a tough part of our season is guys going on the DL. So, but we've been able to battle. So, we just got to keep pushing, keep playing, and we know that guys are going to step up, and we have confidence in that.
Is that I was trying to think this whole time of how to word this. So I'm gonna try my best here. Is that almost a source of I guess, like, motivation for you guys? Like, man, we have a guy like Sean Manaea going down and so many other pitchers this year that you guys want to go out there. And I don't want to say win for them because that's kind of cliche and probably not the case. You want to win regardless. But does that help motivate you guys at all, knowing that, like, man, we're down another guy. We got to go back out there and get another W tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think all year we've kind of had, like, this next man up mentality that I think we've embraced really well. And you think about 162 games and the contributions you get from all sorts of guys that may be on the DL or maybe on a bench role. We've had so many I guess my point is we're in this spot, largely because of Sean and how well he's pitched. I mean, obviously threw that no-hitter earlier in the year, and we are here today in this spot because of him. So you want to continue and try to pick him up where he picked us up early in the year. So I think that's kind of more of the mentality, when stuff like that goes on.
I would also imagine Stephen Piscotty is with us right now from Baltimore. A lot of this comes down from Bob Melvin. This guy was a rock throughout his career, whether it be with the Giants and the A's, as a backup and sometimes starting catcher. He was a quarterback on the field. And having that as a background, then it just seems that, God knows what could happen in that locker room. And Bob would just, all right, let's go get him, figure it out, let's move on. I feel like the one consistent is Bo Mel. And I would imagine as a player, you guys look to him for leadership at times like this too.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably been the best manager I've ever played for, and he just gets it, and it's as simple as that. He just understands kind of what we're going through. He understands, how hard this game is, and he's always looking for ways to set us up for success. And I can't say enough good things about him and the way he's coached this team. So he is a consistent and non-wavering kind of force for us, and he's done just a tremendous job. I love playing for him.
Now, I'm going to ask you a follow-up on that, and probably a little bit harder because sometimes things are easier to say and feelings are easier to convey than actual specifics, but you hear it consistently. Bob Melvin is fantastic. He's the best manager I've ever played for. He gets it, and you hear that from pretty much anyone underneath him. What is it about him that makes him so fun to play for, and that makes him have that connection with pretty much every player that plays for him?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a player, at least for me, I just feel like he has my back, and that's just a great feeling to have. And whether it's a tough call, while you're playing from an umpire, he's there, kind of backing you. And, if he can tell kind of if you're banged up, you might need a day to just recover so you can get back and kind of resume. He just has a feel for that. And you just feel like he's pulling for you, and he's just got your back. And that's kind of how I would describe it. It is hard to kind of put into words unless you're around him every day. But, it's something where, we have confidence in him and we feel like he's got our backs. And, it's surprisingly, it's a pretty rare thing. And we feel like he's in it for us and not vice versa.
Steven, you guys just went through a stretch where you played 20 games in a row. I'm not sure if you knew that.
Yeah.
But what did you do on your day off?
On my day off, I did not do a whole lot of anything. It was a purely relaxed day. I hung out with the fiance, grabbed some dinner, hung out with a buddy, and mentally you just want to kind of rest your brain a little bit. This game is physically demanding, but it's also mentally demanding, and just to take a break and not think about baseball for a day, and watch some football or check your fantasy team, all that sort of stuff. Just take your mind off what's going on, because it's a lot, and we're playing very meaningful games, and it's deep into this thing. So any chance to get a refresher is great. So to answer your question, I did not do a whole lot.
Stephen Piscotty joining us right here on The Drive. All right, so growing up in Pleasanton, it's Niners or Raiders, and I think you were telling me earlier, Raiders fan. So with Monday, and I know you were busy, you got the Khalil Mack trade. They looked great in the first half, up 13-10, got blown out in the second half. What are your initial thoughts on Gruden and that whole scenario with the Raiders?
Yeah, I was excited to see, Gruden come back, and I'm a lifelong Raiders fan, so I remember the days. I was young, but I still remember the Gruden days. They came out strong. I think, the Rams are a great team, and I think they just kind of overcame in the second half. But there were some flashes of hope and brilliance, and I liked it in the first half. Obviously, it didn't end the way you wanted to, but turnaround has to start somewhere. I think they're on the right path.
So you mentioned you check in your fantasy football teams. How many fantasy football teams do you have? That's my first question.
I have 2 teams. I've got a team with some buddies from home and my brothers, and then the A's do a league here, and it's been fun to chat about with them.
That was going to be my second question. Is there an A's fantasy football league?
No smack talk at all, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys are very cordial about it.
I'd imagine pretty much every Major League Baseball team would have a fantasy team. It's a fun thing, especially when you're all together like that every day.
Is that a conversation topic when you're on base? Like, that's my favorite thing in baseball is watching like players chat from other teams, like when they're on the bases. Do you talk about that kind of stuff?
Definitely not during the game, but we have a lot of downtime, at the field, and guys will talk about it. It's something to pass the time, especially with days when you got rain delays or days where you don't take batting practice because it gets canceled with weather stuff. So, that's another one of those little mini kind of distractions that I think is great to kind of take your mind off, baseball and it's exhausting to get to the park at 1 for a 7 o'clock game and just constantly be thinking about baseball for close to 10 hours. So it's great to have a little distraction here and there.
I'm glad Kyle brought that up. I have always wondered that too. So you get a base hit and you're on first, and the camera, shows you handing a batting glove to the first base coach or something. Then there's some yammering going on between the first baseman and you. Is it always you knew the guy and you're like, hey, how's Diane and the kids or something, or is there generally conversation at least a little bit with the first baseman, or does it just depend on who it is?
It definitely depends on who it is. I think with guys I know, you can talk a little bit more in depth, whether it's family stuff or what's been going on. But I think for the guys you don't really know, it's a lot about talking about either the weather or travel that either you're going to be doing or whatever road trips coming up, that sort of stuff. But you try to be courteous. And I think, we're on different teams, but you try to have respect for the other team.
Sure.
Little conversations like that don't hurt anybody.
It's never like mean or trash talky, is it? And if it is, I don't want you to name names, obviously, but I would imagine I imagine it's always cordial.
It's for me, definitely. I could see where if 2 players really know each other well, there could be some smack talk. Sure. and all good fun. But for me, it's just mostly cordial stuff.
Steve Piscotty with us. All right, as we wrap up, we've mentioned your football team. We mentioned your fantasy football team. So then I got to end with this. Do you remember where you picked, and who did you grab in the first round?
I had the 3rd pick, and I took David Johnson.
Attaboy.
Yeah, that's smart. That's such a good move.
So I'm going to guess, what did we do? We did probably, Le'Veon Bell 2nd and Todd Gurley 1st?
Yeah, that Le'Veon is it's a tough one. You're in a tough spot.
Dude, you being an athlete, and I know it doesn't work the same in baseball, but if, let's say, I don't know, Fred Smith of the A's was holding out and you played with him for a couple years and you guys start the season, and for example, thing came up where Le'Veon was at a Miami nightclub. And listen, athletes are people, and I'm all for them having a life and doing their thing. But as teammates, as the actual guys that go to battle with these other guys, if you saw something like that, would you be like, hey, dude, get your contract done and get in and get to the gym? Or do you guys blow that off and it's basically like a media blown out of proportion deal?
That's a good question. I don't think I bet it's different everywhere. Obviously, I think the picture of being out at a nightclub could have a certain stigma around it. I could easily see why there's some contention there. I can see the flip side where guys have Le'Veon's back and are on his side, so to speak, with as far as the business side of everything. So it's a tough one. It's definitely eyebrow raising, but
sure.
It's an interesting situation. Definitely one to. I have James Conner on my team, so I've been following it. I was happy to see the picture.
Right. He's got a little bit of a different outlook, Kyle, on Le'Veon
Like,
Bell's holdout.
I think what Le'Veon's doing is great, and he should keep doing it. Who did you play in week 1, and did you win?
I played Marcus Simeon, and I absolutely got smoked. I had Matt Stafford in the
So did I.
Saints defense.
Yeah.
So -9 was tough.
Yeah.
Tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, that's tough stuff.
All right, well, then last question then. For real, last question. Out of all the players you're going to play this year on your team, if there's one guy, let's say you lose the league and you don't get another win, but you've got to beat this guy every time you play him in fantasy football, who is it?
I'm gonna say Mangden. We've butted heads on some trade talks and we've had differing opinions, and I would love to beat him. I'm playing him this week, so we'll see what happens.
He thinks he's superior because of that mustache, huh?
Yeah, he's got a smugness to him about it.
Please tell me he's not one of those guys that's like, hey, dude, check it out. I will trade you Marquise Goodwin and Amari Cooper. You give me David Johnson and Le'Veon. Please tell me he's not one of those guys.
No, he definitely overvalues his guys. But, he's not that bad.
That is Stephen Piscotty. As always, we get into something. I think last time it was the fact that what is Kyle, rocket scientist?
Yeah, he's a rocket scientist
engineer?
from Stanford.
Yeah. This time fantasy football, and as always, we're happy to be taken to school by him, and hopefully his A's will be taking the Orioles to school a little bit later on and continuing that. They're on a 5-game winning streak, the longest winning streak in all of baseball. We love talking to you, my man. Thanks so much for talking to us this morning, and we'll hopefully have another conversation soon.
All right. Sounds good. Have a good one, guys.
You too. Stephen Piscotty joining us. Just to be clear, yesterday, I think you got that after the interview. You got the gist of that. He joined us about 11:30 yesterday after the show. It was the only window we could get Stephen, and very nice of him to come on. And, of course, he used that. He actually went into the locker room and was like, hey, let's go out and score 10 runs in an inning. And they did. So we appreciate that. And we'll try to get more A's on so we can get more 10-run innings. When we get back, Jeff Risdon, the Lions Wire, joins us right here on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Sports 1140 KHTK has made your mornings even better. Check out The Drive every morning on KHTK.com to not only hear this show, but to see this show as well. The Drive is now video streaming every morning from 6 to 9 on KHTK.com. All presented by the Sacramento Republic FC and by Jiffy Lube.
Downtown Ford's huge 2017 model elimination sale is on, and we must get rid of every 2017 Ford by the end of the month. That means huge dealer discounts on the most popular Ford models like Explorer, F-150, Fiesta, Focus, and Fusion. All brand new vehicles at extreme elimination prices. If you want a brand new Ford on a pre-owned budget, this is the sale for you. Get all of the hot new safety features standard, like front pass sensing system and advanced track electronic stability control. And don't forget about all of the cool technology like sync communication and entertainment system, backup camera, and more. But hurry, there are only a few 2017 vehicles left during Downtown Ford's 2017 model elimination sale. And when they're gone, they're gone. Come see us today at 525 North 16th or online anytime at downtownfordsales.com. Downtown Ford, crummy location, great deals. With approved credit, not all buyers are qualified. Not available with special finance, lease, or other offers. See dealer for details.
This Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute brought to you by Werner, the official ladder of pros everywhere. Speaking of ladders, it's time for my power rankings, starting with the top rung, New England. This year, their defensive unit certainly looks quicker. Half a notch behind are the Rams, who showed how loaded they are against Oakland. The only thing keeping Philly out of first is Carson Wentz on the sidelines. While there's no telling how far Kirk Cousins might take Minnesota, Blake Bortles could prevent Jacksonville from fulfilling its potential. Green Bay, Carolina, KC, Atlanta, and revamped Baltimore round out my first top 10 of the 2018 season. On the flop side is number 28 Oakland, too old and too slow. Tennessee suffered the most week 1 injuries. Where's Arizona's offense? And where was Detroit in all 3 phases against the Jets? Finally, there's basement Buffalo. Did Sean McDermott really think Nathan Peterman was an NFL starting quarterback, or did they throw him to the wolves? I'm Boomer Esiason.
Napa know-how.
Right now, Mobil 1 Full Synthetic Motor Oil is $29.99 for a 5-quart jug. Its advanced formula provides maximum sludge protection, defending your engine like a catcher defends home plate. So, get top-notch engine protection with the Mobil 1 Full Synthetic 5-quart jug for $29.99. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General States pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 9/30/18.
There are 3 things every homeowner wants their home to be: smarter, safer, and more fun. What if I told you you could do all 3 in one product? Introducing the OneLink Safe and Sound, a hardwired smart smoke and carbon monoxide alarm with a premium home speaker and Amazon Alexa voice assistant in one sleek device. Built with First Alert safety technology and providing an immersive, great sound experience, the Safe and Sound elevates any home. Learn more at onelink.firstalert.com. That's onelink.firstalert.com.
Call 1-800-GAMBLER. So over the last couple of weeks, I've had several trips out to Stone's Gambling Hall, located right off I-80 at Antelope. And again, amazed, just absolutely amazed every time I head into Stone's Gambling Hall. One of the nights I was there, they had a band playing great music while we were there, eating at Sammy's, having an incredible meal, also having a good time with buddies, watching games on TV. Then we made our way to the gaming. And that is one of the coolest things, because they gave a $25 match play when I downloaded the app and signed up for their player's card. My buddies did the same thing. It was very simple. Keep the card, keep accruing points, keep the app, keep getting specials. It's that simple. And if you like playing card games like poker or Baccarat or California Blackjack, my personal favorite, then you owe it to yourself to go and do this. It's that easy. $25 match play, and all you have to do is download the app. Make it simple for yourself and win some money with their money. Take my word for it. Download the app, sign up, and get $25 in match play only at Stone's. Again, located off I-80 at Antelope. Stone's Gambling Hall, the one, the only.
Sports 1140 KHTK's coverage of high school football is presented by Wingstop. Listen every Friday night to the Wingstop High School Football Wrap-Up Show and get all the coverage on KHTK.com.
The CBS Sports Minute brought to you by Lexus of Roseville.
Roseville Lexus. Nothing makes driving more enjoyable than a premium Lexus, and there's no finer place to acquire one than Lexus of Roseville in the Roseville Auto Mall. Hear Roseville, think Lexus.
Lexus Roseville. Sports 1140 will be at King Kong Brewing Company, 1709 Del Paso Boulevard, this Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. Win prizes and enjoy great beers at King Kong Brewing, proud sponsor of Sports Fest.
Now your sports update. Sports update. Powered by Mercury Insurance.
This is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. The A's scored 10 runs in the third inning to beat the Orioles last night 10-0, and the Yankees lost to the Twins 3-1, putting the A's within one game of the first wild card spot. The A's and Orioles are back at it again tonight at 4:05, weather permitting. The Seattle Storm beat the Washington Mystics 98-82 to complete a sweep in the WNBA Finals. League MVP Brianna Stewart had 30 points on her way to a Finals MVP. And Week 2 of the NFL season gets underway tonight. It'll be the Ravens and Bengals in Cincinnati, an AFC North showdown with the winner jumping to the top of the division. Coverage right here on Sports 1140 begins at 5 o'clock. It's 8:31. Time to play 9 at Sierra Pines Golf Course. Learn more at timbercreekgc.com.
Here we go. The drive continues now.
Drive continues right now with a word from Kyle Madson.
It's time to check out the Marysville Stampede coming this September 15th and 16th. Go to MarysvilleStampede.com for tickets.
Jeff Risdon of the Lions Wire is going to join us here in just seconds. We're going to preview the Niners and Lions coming up.
Jeff Risdon's a radio guy. Mm-hmm. He does radio, hosts a show and stuff. And you can always tell when you're booking a radio guy, because I said, "Can you come on at this time?" And he goes, "Yeah, that sounds great. Here's where you can reach me."
Yeah.
Throws out the number without having to be asked.
No, not at all. He understands. He understands, and I always like talking to radio guys that know their stuff too, because they understand both mediums, how to inform and also how to get in and out.
He's also the Browns Wire guy.
Wow. So he's running 2 wires at once and doing a radio show. Sounds pretty easy to me.
Sounds like a lot.
Sounds like not a lot to me. Sounds pretty easy. Sounds like something he's happy to be doing. What if there's anybody else that does that? From the 209, a lot of you reacting to the Stephen Piscotty interview, and we appreciate that. He's great. The A's got the drive karma yesterday. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Hey, just a quick note, man. I'm looking at these pictures and videos off the Carolina coast as Florence is getting closer and closer. My goodness. I don't think anybody out there is currently listening to us, so I'm not going to, hey, get out or be careful or anything like that. But, man, thoughts with them all day long and everybody in that area. I'm sure a lot of us will be glued to our phones and to our TVs looking at this stuff. It's just every year, and it just seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. We had Puerto Rico and everything last year in Houston. You just hope that somehow, some way, something happens and this thing magically turns north or northeast or something. Not a good chance of that happening, though. Joining us right now, just said from the Lions Wire, radio guy. This guy does it all. He has time to hang out with us for a couple minutes. Jeff Risdon. Jeff, it's Dave. You know Kyle. How are you?
Very good to be with you guys. Yeah, I have a lot of hats on, but I'll gladly wear the Lions one for you today.
You sound like somebody who enjoys his work.
Oh, absolutely. I get paid to watch football. As tough as it can be to watch, and the teams that I cover are the Browns and Lions. It can be really hard work at times to get enthused about that, but it's better than other jobs that I could be doing.
Well, started out well last week. It was nice in the beginning, quick pick six, see you later. And then, I know I'm not telling you anything you don't know. It went a little downhill from there for the Lions.
Yeah, that was not fun. The reaction, I was out at a bar on a radio remote watching the game, and the first play of the game was Sam Darnold's pick six, and people were laughing. It wasn't even like cheering. It was more like, oh my God, they are so inept. We are going to wipe the floor with them. By halftime, when anybody who hadn't left or was too drunk to leave was still around, the shoe had gone to the other foot quite quickly. It was a terrible game for Matthew Stafford, one of the worst that I've seen him play. The defense was not sharp. I think that's probably the nicest way to say it. There was no run game. LeGarrette Blount carried the ball 4 times and lost 3 yards. There was a whole lot of more of the same old Lions, which is a curse word around these parts, but nationwide it still gets enough run that it's relevant, unfortunately.
What the heck happened to Matthew Stafford?
He had a bad game. Now, there was talk, and the Jets defenders confirmed this, that they knew his hand signals, knew the Lions' tendencies, and could tell what play was going to be run based on the down distance, personnel package, and the alignment. And that's a long-running criticism, not necessarily of Stafford, but of offensive coordinator Jim Bob Cooter. Stafford did not – aside from that, Stafford was off target. He got hurt up a little bit. He got cleated in the knee. He got hit in the ribs. Just didn't look right. He threw 4 interceptions. I would put at least 2 of those solely on his hands. It didn't matter if the Jets players knew what was coming or not. They just made good plays on it. Or more to the point, Stafford looked bad. That is not something that I expect to see from him again. And he has bounced back from bad games in the past. The last time he threw 4 interceptions, the next 2 games he threw 10 touchdowns. So there is definitely hope that he can turn it around quickly. And there's so much talent on this offense that it was difficult to watch them sputter so badly against a Jets defense, which has, Darren Lee played great, and I liked their young corners. I thought played pretty well, but that's a defense with some exploitable holes in it, and they did not exploit it. That was very frustrating. And Stafford will be better. He knows it. He talked about it yesterday in his press conference that he took a lot of the blame for it. He will get better. I'm 0% worried about the long term there.
Yeah, I have always thought Matt Stafford's a pretty underrated quarterback. The thing that really jumped out to me, though, was the defensive touchdowns, which you just touched on a little bit, and then the return touchdowns as well. Did the Lions, do you feel like, kind of quit on that game?
A little bit, and there was they actually worked out 2 punters yesterday, which is interesting because Sam Martin sort of outkicked his coverage as a punter, and he's had some issues. He was a little bit fiery on the sideline. I thought he got into a couple of guys' faces who missed the tackle on Andre Roberts, by the way, a former Lion. Former Lions have a way of coming back and biting that team hard. It happened again. So they're I won't say that everybody quit, but there was certainly a lack of professional intensity in the second half of that game, and it showed after remember they had tied the game at 17-17, and it wound up being 48-17, after about 38-17, you could really see the wind just completely out of the sails, and they were just hoping that they would go to the running clock or something to put them out of their misery.
I want to follow up on that. That's very interesting what you said about Sam Martin, because he averaged 50 yards a punt, and his long was 55, so it's not like he got one crazy fluky punt. I don't want to say he was the best player on the Lions that day, but gee golly, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was. And his big issue, one of the issues is he is also the kickoff specialist. And the Lions, I don't know what this new coaching staff under Matt Patricia has declared. Last year, he had to hit 50% touchbacks. He did not have one in the opening game on kickoffs. So that could be a root of the issue there. Sam, he was far from the biggest person to blame on the Lions. There were a lot of fingers to go around, more than I have hands, unfortunately.
So you talked about that. That third quarter was just brutal, 31-7, and this is the home opener for the Lions. What's the temperature of Lions fan right now? Now, you mentioned same old Lions. Has there been recovery this week? Are they turning it around a little bit emotionally, or are they going into this Niners matchup like they're walking into a funeral?
It's interesting. The initial reaction was very much, what have we done? Oh, my God. Matt Patricia needs to go. We need to fire Bob Quinn, the general manager. After one game, it's worth throwing it all away and starting from scratch. Trade Matthew Stafford. Bring back Jake Rudock because he played at Michigan, and that's a weird mental hold that people in the Detroit area have over that. Now it's come back, and a lot of people are like, you know what? We have done this before. One of the flashbacks is 1991, which, by the way, is the only year that the Detroit Lions have won a playoff game in the Super Bowl era. They lost their opener 45-0. They wound up going 12-4, winning the division and winning a playoff game, which around these parts is downright monumental. So I think people are starting to get a little bit better perspective and walking off the ledge a little bit. But there's still a lot of people that are jumping hard off that ledge and hoping that there's concrete below instead of water.
Jeff Risdon of the Lions Wire. Jeff, Ziggy Ansah only played 19 snaps, but he got good news that he should be able to play in San Francisco. Is that still going to be the case? You think he'll be a full go against the 49ers?
Did we lose you?
Oh, nope, that's my fault. I had the wrong button on.
Right,
Jeez,
go ahead.
This is why I'm not unbelievable. Ziggy Ansah only played 19 snaps against the Jets. Is he going to be a full go against the 49ers?
He was limited in practice. Well, they did a walkthrough yesterday. He will be, I would guess, limited. I'm going to guess he's going to play half the game. He will go. I would be very surprised if he doesn't go, but his lingering injury concerns are definitely an issue. He is the only pass rush generator that the Lions have. Devon Kennard played well in his first game, but he is not a guy who creates things. Ziggy creates, and they need that because their defensive front is poor. Their pass rush was terrible last year. They didn't really add anybody other than Kennard to help that. It's if he doesn't go, it's going to be very rough for that Lions defense again. They are built from the back end, and the back end is pretty good. But there's only so long you can ask Darius Slay to cover anybody.
I want to ask you about that backfield. A lot of fantasy owners right now looking at Kerryon Johnson, and he did have 3 catches for 20 yards, but Theo Riddick had 5 catches for 15 yards. Johnson had 1 more carry than Riddick, but there was not a lot. I mean, listen, they gained 39 yards on the ground. They were behind early. Obviously, rushing wasn't going to be their thing. Do you see that at least going into the Niners game in the near future as as kind of a platoon situation between those two?
It definitely is, and Blunt will get the majority of carries most weeks. It's not going to be a big split. It's going to be he'll get 12 and Johnson will get 10. Theo Riddick is going to get a lot of catches. I expect him to catch 100 passes this year. He might not get 100 rushes. So it's divided up that way, and because Riddick plays that role, it does take away field time for specifically Johnson because he's sort of a dual threat guy. When he came out of college, he compared himself to Matt Forte, and it's really easy to see that comparison when you watch him in person. But one of the Forte's great skills was that he was a dual threat guy. The Lions don't really need Johnson to be that. They have Riddick doing that, so that sort of cuts into where he could really be effective. If you're a fantasy guy and you're holding on to Kerryon Johnson, if it's a developmental thing or a long-term keeper league, you want him. If you're going for this year, probably want to find somebody else because I don't think he's going to help you much other than an occasional fluke week here or there.
A couple of teams looking for their first win in Week 2. 105 start from Santa Clara. Niners and Lions, and that's Jeff Risdon of the Lions Wire. You can check him out at usatoday.thelionswire.com for all that information, all that catch-up on this weekend's game. You're a busy guy. We appreciate you. Thanks so much for joining us, Jeff.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, take care. That is Jeff Risdon. Always good having the Wire guys on. You know, we've got one across from me, Titans Wire, Niners Wire, Lions Wire. They do a fantastic job at covering the NFL, and we love having them on.
I can't confirm this yet, but there may be some news regarding that.
Oh, really? All right, that's a tease. We'll take a break. When we come back, what's on tap right here on Sports 1140 KHTK.
The return of John Gruden started promising.
Second down and goal for the Raiders. Marshon cuts back, battling, close to the 2-yard line. He goes into the end zone. He's pushed in, touchdown. Oh, my! The beast is unstoppable.
In the end, the Raiders didn't have enough for the Rams, but Sunday they get another chance for win one as they travel to Denver to face the division rival Broncos.
Take it all day, baby.
It's the Raiders and Broncos, Sunday at 1, here on your home for the Silver and Black. Sports 1140 KHTK.
The best cowboys and cowgirls in the nation are coming to Marysville. They're all coming for the Marysville Stampede PRCA Rodeo, and you should be there too. It's this Saturday and Sunday at Cotton Rosser Arena in Marysville. Tickets are just $20 for adults and $10 for kids 4 to 12. The Marysville Stampede this Saturday at 5 p.m. and Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Get your tickets now at MarysvilleStampede.com.
Fire Wings, your friend and mine. 21 different flavors to choose from.
You know, I went yesterday.
Did you?
Went with some of the sales
Thanks
guys.
for the invite. Not you guys invited me. I had to get my daughter.
You're welcome for the invite, actually.
Yeah,
we did invite you.
I did say thank you. I was being honest.
Well, I actually, full disclosure, Scott invited you.
Scott, the sales guy.
Yeah, sales guy Scott.
You didn't.
So I went over there. I went over there with Ron. Mm-hmm. Went over there with Chris. I went over there with Scott. We had just a boatload of wings. We had the seasoned fries.
Yeah.
We had the garlic noodles. Let me see if I can. We had Parmesan garlic. Okay. Garlic Parmesan.
Yeah.
Just terrific. The way they do the garlic Parmesan, can't beat it.
So perfect.
Dragon. Clearly. It's one of my favorites, and it's one of my go-tos.
Dragon.
Had the dragon wing. Had the lemon pepper. If you have one for lemon pepper, I will.
I know.
Lemon pepper. Just a classic lemon pepper. Very good. And then, of course, the breaded Malaysian curry.
Can't go wrong there.
You can't.
And that's just a fraction of the 21 different flavors they have at Fire Wings. Go to firewings.com, find the location nearest you, and hey, you tell them Kyle Madson and his friends sent you.
Sacramento, D.C. here, and the Dream Team is in the house. That is Beck's Furniture and Sleep Dream Team. I say Beck's Furniture and Sleep because Beck's can handle all of your furniture and sleep needs. No matter your budget, Beck's has you covered. 3, 4, 5, 6, 8-piece bedroom sets, dressers, nightstands, armoire, kids' beds, you name it, Beck's has it. With 70 mattresses on display, you will sleep like royalty. Tell them D.C. sent you. Visit Beck's today at Beck'sFurniture.com.
Beck's Furniture.
Since we've had USAA, we've had 2 claims. We had an auto insurance claim and a homeowner's claim. The auto insurance claim, we were rear-ended, and my daughter was actually in the car when it happened. I called USAA. I downloaded the app, and from there on out, it was a very seamless process. They really understood, and they were actually concerned about my daughter's well-being and her safety.
From the moment he uploaded the photos to taking the damaged vehicle to the auto body and having a rental car there, USAA understands the day-to-day life. This is our home. These are our cars. This is where we pick up our kids from school. This is how we get to work.
I feel USAA is very committed to getting you back on your feet. We're the Bakers, and we're USAA members for life.
See how much you could save with USAA by bundling your auto and home insurance. Get a quote today.
Ability to receive a quote depends on membership eligibility. Product membership eligibility and bundling savings restrictions apply and are subject to change. Members paid for their participation. United Services Automobile Association and its affiliate, San Antonio, Texas.
So you say it hasn't happened to you yet. Well, we hope it never does. But chances are, sooner or later, your pipes will clog and you'll have a drainage problem. It's a part of home ownership that stinks, sometimes literally. And DIY quick fixes won't cut it. Fortunately, the home service heroes at Bonnie can fly out to your house and make that big problem go away fast. Yep, in 8 out of 10 cases, Bonnie can make your drain problem go away by cabling out your drain line for just $97. And if you're the exception, you'll really be glad you called Bonnie and not some Jake with a snake plumbing and drain guy. Bonnie has the specialized cameras to diagnose your problem correctly. And our stand-up techs will show you the pictures, explain the problem, and lay out all your options. Plus, we'll fix the problem for the price quoted, guaranteed. So call Bonnie for your drain problems and we'll save the day fast. Typically for just $97. For details, go to Bonnie.com. License 696355. BONNEY. Bonnie.com.
MadeACars.com has big savings on over 2,000 vehicles. Easy financing for everyone. Over 7,500 4-star reviews, all in one place. MadeACars.com. See why everyone is saying,
Made a great deal at Maida.
It's the end of the show, but it's the start of your workday. For a cold one, it's What's on Tap. Here's What's on Tap.
Well, great news for Giants fans. The Giants aren't going to lose today. That's fantastic. They're off. Thank God. Boy, that season needs to end for them. A's Orioles tonight, 4:05 first pitch. Brett Anderson versus Dylan Bundy. Looking around in the rest of baseball, light schedule tonight. The Mariners will visit the Angels and the Yankees off. Those are games that are of interest to the A's. And we've got Thursday night football tonight. The Bengals host the Ravens. You and I have the Bengals winning.
Yeah, we both do. And you know what else is coming up?
What's that?
Marysville Stampede. It's time to check out the Marysville Stampede coming this September 15th and 16th. Go to MarysvilleStampede.com for tickets.
How about this story to end the day? Joe Mauer told the Minneapolis Star-Tribune after yesterday's game he is mulling over whether to retire from pro baseball. Mainly his family. They're expecting the third child. He's 35 years old. Twins have struggled. He has the worst triple slash of his career. OPS is 719.
Can I pause real quick?
Yep.
I hate that it's called a triple slash.
Yeah.
There's only 2 slashes. Keep going.
Why do they call it a triple slash then?
I don't know.
Okay. He says, quote, it's been a grind, a lot of things going on this year. Now, Kyle, I had Joe Mauer on my fantasy baseball team many times. I remember Joe Mauer as a catcher. Joe Mauer and Justin Morneau when they made up that nice little duet. Yeah. And I consider myself a baseball fan who watches baseball.
A nice duet that got swept in the 06 ALDS. Boom!
Am I that bad of a person for reading this and going, wow, Joe Mauer's been playing?
No, the most notable thing he's done in my life lately is he hit a grand slam against the Yankees the other night.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just
completely forgot he hadn't retired.
Yeah, I know because the A's play the Twins every year.
Yeah.
So I always just kind of he's just around, but he's just not. He's still got a beautiful swing.
Sure. Oh, he's a great player.
And he's one of those guys that could play until he's 50 and bang out base hits until he's 50.
Not a Hall of Famer, though. I mean, never had a 30 home run season, never had a 100 RBI season. I don't even think he had a 100 run season. He might have. Great hitting catcher.
I would have to go look at his. I would have to go look deeper into the numbers.
Okay.
I don't have enough info to have a formulated opinion on it.
I think he's Hall of really, really, really good. And a great story, too. What a great career for him. Joins the Twins big league club at 21 years old. Born in St. Paul. Plays his entire 14-year career with the Twins. Makes a buttload of money. Oh, what more do you want? Maybe a World Series, obviously. Ben Roethlisberger did not think the Myles Garrett hit he was flagged for was a bad hit at all.
You didn't see me get up complaining. I've taken a lot worse and not got called. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. I wasn't upset about it. I was surprised when they blew it, but I wasn't going to go crazy, about it.
Didn't understand why they announced that it was a bad call after the fact.
I don't understand why does the NFL have to come out and say that? They sure as heck didn't come out and say that the ball did hit the guy in the helmet on the punt. Do they have to come out and, every call that they make wrong in games, do they come out and say it? So I don't understand why that play particularly they had to come out and say that they were wrong because they review plays, and but the point of reviewing plays was to get it right. I mean, that ball hit that guy's helmet on that punt.
The Nathan Peterman era seems to be over in Buffalo, but before we get to that, Kyle.
I have a Joe Mauer take.
Yeah.
He's a Hall of Famer. MVP winner, 3-time Gold Glove winner, 3-time batting champ as a catcher, 6-time All-Star, and he's a career 306 hitter, 2,100 hits. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
I disagree. I think he's going to be one of those guys that shows up on the ballot forever, gets close.
I think he gets in eventually. I'm with you, like that Jack Morris type.
Yeah.
Where just every year we're going to argue about Joe Mauer until he finally gets 75.1% or whatever he needs. Yeah, I think Mauer gets in.
So
plus because the narrative matters so much in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
He's beloved.
And he has been Captain America, and he stayed with the Twins his whole career. He's from St. Paul. I think Mauer gets in. And that's my rant for today.
Nathan Peterman era appears to be over in Buffalo.
I'm not going to get into how permanent it is, guys, and you got to understand where I'm coming from. It's the right move for our football team, and I'm not going any further than that. It's the right move for our team. I've got confidence in Josh. I have confidence in this football team, and it's the right move for our
That's Bills head coach Sean McDermott on Josh Allen and the experience he'll get.
You know, when you look at it, experience is important as well, and he's going to get valuable experience from being, in this case, where he's going to be this weekend in particular, behind the steering wheel. There's certainly valuable experience when you can stand and watch, but as we all know, there's no substitute for the experience when you're actually behind the wheel.
So is he regretting starting Nathan Peterman in week 1?
I feel like that was the right move, and I'll take that to my grave. That's how I felt about it. I'm always going to try and make the right move for our football team. Sometimes it's going to work out, sometimes it's not. And I stand by it as a leader. I stand by those, both the ones that work out and the ones.
He also says when you're taking a quarterback in the first round, dude's going to play.
When you draft a quarterback like we did, there's a part of it that you got to say, hey, yeah, he's going to play either A or B or C in early, middle, or late, or the next year. I mean, there's, you got to be okay with all.
Now, we talked about this yesterday. Do we really think the Bills' offensive line is better than the Browns' offensive line? Peterman's out, Josh Allen's in Buffalo, but Baker Mayfield's still on the bench. Is that because Sean McDermott's making the wrong move? Is that because Tyrod Taylor is a better quarterback than Nathan Peterman? Is it a combination of all those?
I think the Bills have already botched this.
Yeah.
I think they didn't want to play. I don't think they planned on playing Allen this year. But they traded their two options, their two viable starting options. Whether they're good or not doesn't matter.
Speaking of Tyrod
Taylor can start you 16 games.
Yeah.
A.J. McCarron can probably start you 14, 15, 16 games. You may not win a lot of them, but you don't need to put Josh Allen on the field, and you can get another free agency cycle. You can get another draft class in there to bolster your offensive line, get him more weapons. But now you've left yourself with Nathan Peterman, who stinks.
Yeah, so why do you trade McCarron? I understand Taylor. Why do you trade McCarron?
I don't for a 5th-round pick.
Yeah.
What are they doing? There are so many. Go get I believe Matt McGloin is a free agent right now. Go sign Matt McGloin.
Oh, I can think of other quarterback free agents that might be better.
Nope. There are 4.
That's why I would say it.
So you can go get. There are free agent quarterbacks who have won playoff games, who have been to Super Bowls. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. But they botched this about as badly as they possibly can.
The Bills?
Yeah, I know. It's pretty shocking.
Well, that puts a cap on that. For Kyle Madson, our executive producer, Eunice.
I'm really proud of you today.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
This is a gutsy performance.
Had to gut it out. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
Who's grain?
Your grain. It's The Drive, Sports 1140 KHTK. Jim Rum is next. Bye-bye now.